Good morning to one and all present here. Today we have yet another program which is a joint collaboration between Heritage Center and Music Club. The Music Club, which was earlier called Katyayani Sangeeta Sabha. Am I right? Okay. Anyway, there are 4 or 5 wise men today who are going to walk us through the journey from 1966 down to the present day. So I request all of them to come on stage. Professor Narayana Rao, Professor Gopinath, Professor Kolar, and Professor T.T. Narendran. The panel will be moderated by Professor Nagarajan.
Good morning to everyone who has come to attend this program. It's such a pleasure and privilege to be in the company of such stalwarts, retirees from IIT Madras, whose ranks I will be joining shortly. So another reason for me to be pleased about this occasion. I think the one thing that they all share, which we will talk about, explore more here, is a passion not only for the academics that goes on campus, but also the musical arts. And they are all connected to the music scene on campus in one way or the other. And I will invite them to talk about that, and then we'll see where the conversation goes. You know, I hate to plan a panel right from the beginning. I think that based on what we hear from our distinguished panelists, we will take the conversation in many different directions. This will be for about 1 hour, so please stay with us for the duration. So with that, what I would like to do is just go in turn and ask the panelists to perhaps talk a little bit about their IIT Madras days, their memories of the time they were at IIT Madras, and in particular focus on that links to the music that was happening on campus. When did they get involved? How did they get involved? What were their contributions, their interests? And so we'll just go around and perhaps each panelist can talk for maybe 5 minutes about that, and then we'll come back and have a conversation around that. So I will start with Professor Narayana Rao. Please share your memories.
A very good morning to all my friends here. Some of them I am seeing for the first time. Some of them I have seen them for a very long time. So let me begin at the very beginning of the music club, especially about the music club, because I would concentrate more on the matters of music club, how it was started, how it grew to some extent, and leave the growth, further growth of it to my successors here. Mr. Narendran has contributed a lot towards that, and Mr. Kolar and Mr. Gopinath, they have all contributed towards the growth. My role was more or less about the starting of the music club. I was in the campus till 1996. After that, I only read about music club, heard about music club and its activities. So to begin at the beginning of the music club was around 1970, because I myself joined in 1968. I came from Germany directly as an appointee in the electrical engineering department. And at the same time, I think Professor V.S. Raju came from Benares. Professor Raman came from Germany also at the same time. So 2 or 3 of us joined together and we were discussing about this thing to start something like chamber music, which was very common in those days in Germany. We used to have, all of us were from Germany at that time. Raman, Raju, myself, and we were all. So we were influenced by those chamber music and these things. So when we saw in the campus, there was no institution which was catering to the needs of music lovers, this thought came to our mind, why not start a music club? When we were talking about it, another coincidence, it was that my wife wanted to learn Veena, Professor Raju's wife wanted to learn Veena, and we found a good teacher in Nageshwar Rao, Mokkapati Nageshwar Rao. I'm glad to meet his son today here. Where is he? I'm glad to meet his son here. We have to acknowledge, if at all there is a music club today in IIT Madras campus, we owe it partly to his father. Not only three or four of us, but his father was the main initiator of this idea. Why don't we start a music club here? That's how the growth of the music club started. And once the idea took some shape, we started distributing some pamphlets inside the campus, sent it to all departments, and we wanted to involve more of the student population also at that time. When we started, then some of the earlier faculty, because I was not the senior most faculty at that, I was the junior most faculty at that time in 1969-68. Because IIT started, faculty started here around 59, I think. So there were already people who had some experience of a music club in the campus. Katyayani Sangeet Sabha, or so it was called. Katyayani Sangeet Sabha. It functioned about 3 or 4 years, I was told. And somehow, for various reasons, it died a slow death. So in 69, when we came, there was no music club. There was nothing. If you had to listen to some concert, you had to go to the music academy or outside some of the sabhas. Within, we had no scope to listen to classical music. So thanks to Mr. Nageshwar Rao and our discussions, we said the music club will not only cater to Carnatic music, but Hindustani music and even Western classical music, if somebody, but restrict it to classical music. That was the idea right from the beginning. And I am glad to see that we have stuck to that to this very day. Only classical music as far as possible. And light music, there are several organizations which cater to that. We didn't want to have much to do with the light music. So this is how the origin of music club took place in this campus. And then we circulated these pamphlets to the students and to the faculty members, got a list of people who are interested in starting a music club like this. And then the usual formalities of forming the club was started. Professor Sampath was then the deputy director. Professor Ramchandran was the director, Professor Sampath. And as some of you might know, Professor Sampath was enthusiastic about anything new which he wanted to start. He would be the person who gets involved. So he encouraged us, and he was also in the electrical engineering department, you see. So we were meeting quite often, Professor Sampath, and he fostered this idea. He gave us more sort of administrative backup, so to say, to start a club. Like he said, we'll offer you CLT for any of these concerts, no problem. And to get the artists from outside, we'll provide you vehicle support and this thing. But financially, we cannot support a club like this. It has to be a private organization. So we had to fix up membership fees, student concessions for that, and all these things. So we got involved in that. Professor Raju became the joint secretary. I was the secretary. Professor Sampath was the president of the club. Raju became, and I think, treasurer or so. And Raman was the secretary, joint secretary. Raman came later. Okay. So that is how we worked out some membership fees. And we also promised at least 2 concerts per month we planned. And of which both of them cannot be senior concerts. So we wanted to encourage the students and the youngsters also. So some junior concerts were also introduced. So senior concerts, junior concerts, and we used to organize these concerts in the Central Lecture Theatre. And even PA system was provided more or less free, because that came in the under the electrical engineering department at that time. So thanks to Professor Sampath and all of us in the electrical engineering department, we used to get it practically free or nominal rates were charged for us. That's how we got going. I think the very first concert was, there is some confusion in my mind. Ramanath Krishnan. Or I thought it was D.K. Lalgudi Jairam. Because we had a very good contact to Lalgudi Jairaman at that time. Professor Venugopal was another interested person in the electrical engineering department. His brother was learning violin under Lalgudi Jairam. So we could approach even Lalgudi Jairaman directly, and we put always this idea that the students are our support. So student concession. There also from every faculty musician, we got some concession, student concession, less than 50%. They used to charge us practically free. Many of them came free and gave their concerts here. So Professor Narendran will tell you the list of all kinds of musicians we could get and arrange concerts. So the music club had some initial problems, difficulty in arranging these concerts, financial mostly, but we struggled through that, and I think we were in the end successful in organizing not only senior concerts but junior. Only MS we could not get. All the other senior musicians we were able to go and request them and get them here. So that's how it went on, and we did have lecture demonstrations. Professor Nageshwar Rao gave some lecture demonstrations, and the other organization, what is that? They go around all the country arranging. I forget their name. Speak people. We collaborated with them, and I think one or two concerts were arranged here inside the IIT Madras, thanks to music. I think I will stop with that, just giving you one small incident which happened, which is in my memory, and that's about the visit by the English cricket team. Yeah, cricket team. More about that, I will leave it, some written matter, I will leave it with the Heritage Club. But just briefly, I want to tell you, in those days, Madras was a center where the interesting test matches used to be arranged. So the British team, the English team was visiting Madras, and we had a concert that day here on a Sunday. We had a concert by Lalgudi Jairam concert it was. CLT was practically full. And in the afternoon, just before the concert, or we get a call from MCC, saying that the captain of the English team, one Mr. Lewis, wants, he wants to come and listen to the music concert. Of course, it was not known. If we had announced it, the students would have filled the CLT much earlier, I think. But somehow we had to go and pick him up. And we went there. Not only Mr. Lewis, but he invited Patadi, who was the Indian captain also, to join him. So we had to bring both of them to the campus. And Professor V.G.K. Murthy helped us because he is the only one who had a car, I think, in our department. Institute vehicle was not available. So we rushed to Connemara Hotel, and then we brought these two persons. And Lewis, when he came in, the student crowd was already there to some extent, but they somehow sent the message to the hostels, and more students poured in. I don't know, it was not the days of mobile phony, telephony, and how they got the message through, we don't know. But still a lot more students came and they all joined. Lewis stayed with us till about half time, I think, till the interval, because they had a reception in Koturpuram. What is that son? Annamalai. Oh, okay. They had to go and attend the reception there. So halfway through they left, and Lewis really appreciated, because he was himself a musician, a violinist also at that, I think, and he appreciated Lalgudi's violin concert very much. Only our Patadi was not very much impressed. Oh, his comment was, "Oh, this fellow plays very nice." I think I will stop with that remark, and I should say, thanks to the efforts of Professor Narendran, who practically took over after I left the campus in 96, 97 I left. No, after that you took over, I think. And for a long time, he has nurtured the music club. I think he has more to tell you about the growth aspects of the music club. And I learned later that the present director, Professor Kamakoti, was then a student, PhD student. And I was a member of the music club. And I don't know whether he was present in that concert. You should check with him sometime.
He came in much later.
Much later. Okay. So now I hear he is also lending his support to the music club. I am sure the music club will continue to grow and prosper thanks to the support from all of you here in this auditorium. Please, thank you so much.
Thanks, Professor Narayana Rao. Maybe just for the sake of continuity, should we hear from Professor Narendran? Or
They were all at IIT earlier than.
okay, then Professor Gopinath.
So, good morning to everybody. I'm thankful to IIT Madras for inviting me today to be with this function. Now, I joined here in 1968 and 1970 I left. After 1 year stint in the industry, HIL, Koraput, I came back to IIT Madras to do my PhD. So at that time, Professor Narayana Rao and Ashwath Narayana pulled me to this music club and made me member. And prior to that, I was an active member of Kannada Sangha, and also I was taking part in Telugu Karyakram. So I was playing tabla for both this. I had a basic training, that's all. I'm not a big tabla player. So that interested me in joining the music club. And now what amused me in the music club at that time is tabla is a little different from mridangam. And you cannot compare tabla with mridangam. Because this, while attending these music programs, I found I was amused actually by the skill and of these mridangam players. In tabla playing, when we accompany a musician, we only play the take-up. So if it's teen tal, da din din da, da din din da, da din din da, na din din da. And when he shows his hand, then only we play blola or kaida or short kaida. But in this mridang playing in Carnatic music, it is different. You know, if you sing a stanza, according to your notes, they will play. And if such a thing is there in Hindustani music, the musician will get, nervous. Only senior people may continue, otherwise they will scold. Now, this is because then I found out why this in Carnatic music, the musicians, vocal musicians, he will put the talam and then he sings. So for him, it doesn't matter if he goes this side or that side, but they play according to the notes. That is the speciality of this one. That amused me. Then one famous tabla player, Talwalkar, I don't know whether you know, Pandit Talwalkar, he is the first tabla player, came down to South and learnt mridangam, and he learned from this mridangam expert, I don't know whether it's TV Gopalakrishna or T.K. Murthy. One of them he has learned, and he started, and in Hindustani music also, he started showing how we have to play like Carnatic music. That was real good, and he started giving. So he used to sing. So this is the stanza, how to play according to the Carnatic style playing. That was really good. So this, what I found in good in this music club is, so our salary was at that time 375 rupees is the basic, and to go from here to any academy, bus fare or auto fare, and the charges to be paid there, it was not suiting our purse. But music club did excellent job. We could listen to top musicians in the country, and the speciality of Carnatic music players are, they were not money minded. IIT stage means they were ready to come even free. That is the mentality of our Carnatic music player. Whereas you ask any Hindustani player at that time itself, they were charging 2 lakh and all. If you ask our famous tabla player, Zakir Hussain, minimum 2.5 lakhs. And later on, he started charging 10 lakhs and all. So here, we could listen to all top musicians within our budget. And another thing, the charges for our music club were deducted from the salary itself. So in 2011, after coming back and joining IIT, I joined, and 2011 to 1971 I joined, and up to 2011 till my retirement I continued with this. And the main idea of this music club was to facilitate us listen to top musicians, and those who are learning, they can get learn skills from these musicians, and people like us, music lovers and the appreciators, attract them, and those who are enthusiastic in learning, music club provided coaching classes also. So everything can go inside the campus, and people need not waste time in going up and down for this purpose. That is one of the important things. Now, one of strange feeling I had after listening to this music program is, see, we used to come, we tired, and come to the music club in the evening, and you listen to the music. At the end of the music program, you completely get defeated, you get freshened up, your mind will be very clear, and you will be with full of energy to continue your work. That is the fantastic aspects of Carnatic music. It may be same with the Hindustani music. Then I thought, why not do some research? So before coming to the music program, I used to take my BP and come. And after the music program, I used to go back and take BP. To my surprise, the blood count, pressure comes from 135 to 120. So 10 to 15 counts it used to come down. So I thought I'll do further research in this, and I found there is a music therapy also. So when I went to the history, I found that the music for us was given by Saraswati Devi, and then it was propagated by Narada Muni, and it has come down. And about this, Samaveda is dealing with the music, our music. Then I think Ramdas Gaud, he has written a book on Hindutva in 1985. In page 85, there is a mention about a book called Shabda Kaushal. And there are about 1,000 shlokas in this book which explain about Raga Chikitsa. And there is a description about removal of sickness using this Raga Chikitsa. What are the common features there was? Shravana, you listen to the music. Then Manana, you know, within your mind you repeat that. Then Kirtana, you sing the thing. So these three used to cure many of the diseases. And there is another book called Deval Sutra, also enlightens about the rendition of ragas to cure disease. And Narada Muni, he has stated in one of it, as quoted by somebody, in Sangeeta Markanda, there were 8-line shloka. And in this 8-line shloka, it is given how, which raga we have to, what is the effect of raga, different raga. So we have got Purna, then we have got Chadava, and we have got Avadava. So what are the influences of these ragas? So this Purna raga is rendered for longevity and faith, fame, intelligence, wealth, prosperity, and fertility. Then we have got Shadava raga. It is rendered in the case of struggle, beauty, sorrow, and other approaches. Vadava raga should be rendered to remove unhappiness as the result of poverty, sickness, and graha dosham. Now, some of this, as applied by our musicians, I'll remind you. Now, Purandadasa, everybody knows. And Purandadasa used to go, so after he donated his wealth, he became sannyasi, and he used to go to each and every house, and he used to take alms from them. So whenever he goes to a house, he will see the woman is coming, and he will study her psychologically immediately. You know, some women used to curse and come. So immediately he will study them, and on the spot he used to compose a song, and he to a particular raga and sing. At the end of this, he is singing. You know, the women folk used to get cooled down, and they used to go and give him alms happily. So this is the power of the music. And you know, MIT USA, they did some research on our Omkar chanting. And this Omkar chanting, they say that many diseases can be cured. And we have got a big Bhagavata called Bananje Govindachari, who passed away recently. He was a Harikatha specialist. And he used to say, chanting of Sudarshana Mantram can cure many of our diseases. So what is needed is a concentration and your faith in self-curing. And a Russian scientist, Dr. Dosel, he has given the following postulations. That is, music affects the blood circulation, and music maximizes and minimizes blood pressure. Frequency of heartbeat may vary through application of music. Amplitude and magnitude and tonal structures may affect on the blood pressure and frequency rate. You know, if you attended the music program, the Western music program in the OAT, they were singing it high pitch, high volume, and all. And sometimes, I used to get palpitation because when the two frequencies match, your blood pressure will rise. So this is the effect. Whereas soft Western music are there. There you will get the same effect as Carnatic music. And I want to give the example of this music, how it can calm down anything. Muslim Italy government once, when Mussolini was the head, they conducted an international music festival, and Pandit Omkarnath Thakur was invited. And Mussolini was having a sleeplessness and insomnia problem. So he wanted to check all these people are whether they are duping us or it is real. Then he invited Omkarnath Thakur to his court. And Omkarnath Thakur, he sang one song in Bhuprag. Yes, Bhuprag, it is this outdoor. And at the end of the song, tears were trickling down from Mussolini's this one. And Mussolini, who is always very hot-tempered, he cooled down. And at the end of the music, he came and shook hand with Omkarnath Thakur and told him that what you claim in Hindustani music, it is true. Then same Omkarnath Thakur, when he went to Kabul, there was a lion which was restless. It was roaring and disturbing the whole area. So he just went near that and started singing this Kafi Raga. After 10-15 minutes, the lion calmed down and went to sleep. Then, knowing more our Omkarnath Thakur's proficiency in music and its effect in various ways, they called, in Saurashtra there was a famine, no rain, and they called Omkarnathji, and 3 days he sang on various these ragas, Mega Malar and all. And on the 3rd day, when the Purnavati was given, and thunder showers started coming, and for 3 days it rained continuously. And similarly, in our history, we would have learned about Tansin. Tansin used to sing this Deepak Rag and produce fire. And then he used to sing Megamalar and quench it. And this is the power of this one. Now, coming to the last, this one. Our Trinity, Tyagaraja and Shama Shastri and Dikshita, they also done such research work. And Tyagaraja revived a dead person to life with Najiva Dharana, his composition in Bilahari Raga. Then Muthuswami Dikshita, he cured stomach pain with his Navagraha Kirti. And Shama Shastri's piece, Duru Suga, he applies raga music to play for sound and health. Now, having known this, our music club, they should also associate with our biomedical people, and also now medical science, this B.Tech program has started. So they must associate and do the research, and that will help the future generation. And already we had Umayalpuram Shivaraman, who used to come and do the research in our applied mechanics on FRP, this Mradangam, and split Mradangam, because carrying the Mradangam is very difficult. Now, if you split it, so it is with both hands you can carry it, and it is easy. So he used to find out by doing this, what are the variation in the frequency and all. So Chandramouli was, Professor Chandramouli was associated with this. So I'll complete with this Carnatic music, ragas, and what are their influence. So Kokilam, I wrote a book on sleeplessness and insomnia, in which I made use of this research from our music club, this one, music club. And I have given one chapter, music therapy for curing sleeplessness and insomnia. And some of them I'm reading. Kokilam Ragam, it helps to prevent stone formation, burning sensation, sleeplessness, and anxiety. Then Madhu Varshini is good for nerves. So people who are having, nervousness and what's it called? Some of the nerve-associated problems, they can listen to this. And it cures diseases like slight headache and sleepless and sinus problem. And Mohanam, it cures headache, indigestion, and depression. I have tried this. I have various people's songs I have downloaded from net, and I was listening, and it really works. And Sama makes the mind sober. So if somebody is, excited and all these things, you can listen to this, and it makes sober, tranquil, induces good sleep and peace. And similarly, Saramati Bhajan, it is good for sleeplessness and depression. And another ragam is Nilambari. It also helps in curing sleeplessness and insomnia. And Sandhya Kalyani is good for sleep, and after the sleep you will become very fresh. So these are the effects of this raga, and attending the music club programs, I was really benefited by this, and it gave me material for doing research, and it helped me in writing that book, one chapter devoted for this. And I am still doing some research, and next my book, Your Body is God's Wonder and Gift to You, Nurture It. In this, I am going to write detailed about the various ragas that is needed for nurturing our body. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
One more thing I want to tell you is that when our music club was on period, God gave us a gift in the form of T.T. Narendran. And earlier we used to have one program per month, and after he took over, it's really nice. We used to have 4 programs per month. And not only that, he used to bring a discussion, one session, one program for discussion, where we can clear our doubts which are there in various aspects of music. So it's a really good thing that IIT had a person like T.T. Narendran, who has contributed a lot to our music club.
Yeah, thanks again, Professor Gopinath. I think it's wonderful that so much of Carnatic music and ragas induce relaxation and sleep and so on. But I think we need some music to wake up our students in class. Maybe Western music. Professor Kolar, your thoughts.
First of all, I would like to thank Professor Nagarajan for arranging this program and inviting us. I am not a musician, as most of you know. I just love Carnatic classical music and a little bit of Hindustani classical music. So that's why I've been invited here. I would like to believe that. I joined IIT Madras in 1971. late 1971 as a PhD scholar. Just before that, I was in IIT Kharagpur as an MTech student. There was a Telugu association. There was no music club. Then they arranged a Carnatic classical music program by Nukala Chinna Satyanarayana. I am from a small town in Karnataka. I didn't know much about Carnatic music except a few Purandaradasa songs sung every evening with my parents. So I attended that program and I was absolutely thrilled and impressed. Later I found out that he was a very leading Carnatic classical musician from Andhra. Then I said, oh, I'm going to IIT Madras. Will there be something like this? The moment I landed here, late 71, October or November, Sachidananda, my friend, new friend at that time, he said, there is a music club, you should become a member of that. So maybe it was 2 rupees for our students or even 5 rupees per month or something like that. I joined and I just want to share with you. Huh?
2 rupees for
2 rupees.
3 for faculty.
3 for faculty. 2 rupees for students. But my PhD scholarship was only 400 rupees. MTech scholarship was 250 rupees. I would get money from my father to travel from Kharagpur to Bangalore. So 2 rupees, but still it was quite reasonable. Then I started attending, and for the first time, I learned to appreciate music, enjoy music. So Sachidananda used to sit with me next to me. He later married a Veena player from IIT Madras. Her name also was Veena, I think. I used to say, this is the raga. Hey, you don't know anything, shut up, he used to say. Tell me what is wrong with this. I'll explain to you later, but he never explained. So Sachidananda is a big industrialist today. What I'm saying is, for a person from a small town, this was a new experience. IIT, first of all, I came to IIT, that was a big thing. The music club in IIT, which should arrange these programs, as Gopinath said, a spectrum of musicians from young artists, junior artists, to Chemmai Vaidyanatha Bhagavatar, 1896 born. 72, I attended this program in CLT, Chemmai, TBG and Rukmini. An incident happened, but I'll tell you if there is time later. So I was drawn to the music club by the sheer quality of the musicians whom I had heard of. Lal Gudi, we had heard of him, but I didn't know anything about it. So then I got myself attached to this music club. 74 or 75, sir, you were the president, I think Purushottam was the secretary. Kannada Sangha, in which we were active, we said we should have a Purandaradasa program. But then the concert fees were about 400 rupees, 500 rupees for the entire, 300 rupees for the entire program for everybody. We said we cannot afford it. Kannada Sangha cannot afford 300 rupees. So we said, we came to an understanding, maximum 100 rupees we will pay from the Kannada Sangha. You please arrange. So music club was extremely gracious in that. And the first program was by Bombay Sisters here in CLT. Then many such programs, Purandaradasa programs are even continuing now. I would like to believe there was a short gap, I think. The music club grew from, went to really the higher levels of attracting students, faculty, children, staff, and outsiders. I have lots of things to say, but because Jitendra will give more information. I would like to characterize IIT Music Club with 3 alphabets, P, P, and C. P, it's a pioneer. Many people don't know that there was no music Sabha south of Adiyar River in those times. Koturpuram, nothing. There was no Koturpuram bridge. So if Koturpuram people had to listen to music, they had to take 5B, go to either Mylapore or T Nagar. That's the 2 hubs of classical music, and even now I think, but others have come up. So, first organization, Hamsadhwani came in 1990. Many other Koturpuram has now one, run by the Chettiars. It's all new. IIT Madras Music Club, according to me, has that distinction, the first in South Madras. So people from Koturpuram, Gandhinagar, Adiyar, Besant Nagar used to come, and then they started advertising IIT music programs in the Hindu. People would watch it and then come in the evening, pay, and also cheap, maybe few rupees at that time. So that was the attraction of IIT Music Club, and that was the way it was looked at even in South Madras itself. Today there are many 65 associations also in Madras. So I would call it a pioneer for South Madras. It was a promoter of classical music. Later I would say a little bit of dance, but classical music. Why I am saying this? An entire generation, 2 generations of youngsters in this institute, the children of faculty, came to know about classical music, attended the concerts. Today, some of them are running music classes in United States, Canada, Singapore, people who grew up with music club. You can ask them, they'll come and give you a concert today. You ask them, they'll say, because of music club, I got interested. They gave a lot of encouragement. Everybody was welcome at that time. So it spread to faculty wives who never knew any music. They started attending and they wanted to learn. So from very junior artists, which our TT Narendran brought, to Chambai have performed here. Of course, Lalgudi talked about in music club. It spread. It's the second part of the P promotion is spread this music, classical music thing to other organizations and activities in the campus. The cultural week, Sudha Raghunathan had come and sang there, and Chitra also in our cultural week in the early 70s actually in OIT. But 74 it became Mardi Gras. From that time onwards, the first day of Mardi Gras is for Carnatic classical music, and they knew people will not pay for it, so it was made free. And to make money, they started inviting Zakir Hussain and our Sarod people and all. Zakir Hussain, okay, that's a different matter, forget about it. So the faculty, wives, families, children, and the staff were greatly benefited by this. It went into Bharat Utsav, Mardi Gras, Sarang, and national and international conferences held in IIT Madras. They somehow wanted either a Carnatic classical music program or a dance program. We have arranged that many times. So it became, it spread this perfume of Carnatic classical music to the entire campus. Oh, there's a conference coming up, let us have a classical music program. So in that way, it spread this fantastic art to the entire campus. It also encouraged, therefore, private people, families in our own campus to have their own private programs. As you know, we had Nagarajan music festivals, and then Lakshmi Sri Ram's house, we had private concerts. Soumya sang in my house twice when she was a student here. D.K. Pattamal's daughter, Nityashri, she came and sang. I'm saying how the music club, affected the overall Carnatic classical music ambience in the campus. So that finally my C is catalyst. It was a great catalyst for the same reasons which I have said. I would like to say there was one Miss Sita Subramaniam madam who taught music to our children here, and they performed in a group in in the Madras Music Academy December season. Morning before the conference there is a half an hour. Our children, IIT Madras children and Sita Subramaniam, they sang there. And they remember that even today. So it's not simply a music program in IIT Music Club that we went. It has generated over a period of 50 years that enthusiasm. And some of them have really stuck to this even today. I know very well because they are teaching in the United States today. There were a few students who became popular. Ananta Krishnan was a violinist. Rajnarayan, flautist. Varadarangan, he is now in Bangalore. He has developed leather. Vegan mridangam. There was Ananta Krishnan. Rajnarayan, anybody who uses Radel Shruti box today should remember Rajnarayan. He was our MTech student, electrical engineering. He is a big defense supplier of these things. He developed Sarang audio, Shruti box, Tambura. Even now he is doing a lot of developments. His wife, Radhika Narayanan, is a famous Veena player. He is from IIT Madras. Then, of course, there was Guitar Prasanna. I arranged his program. He was an 18-year-old second-year student in Ganga Hostel Day. I arranged his He was playing Carnatic classical music on guitar. Today he's the international fame, Guitar Prasanna. Of course, Soumya, all of us remember Sangeeta Kalanidhi. Soumya, she was our student. So, our IIT Madras Music Club is not just a club where you go sit, listen to somebody and go. It has nurtured 2 generations here. And I today am not a great technical expert. I love music, to hear Carnatic classical. I never missed attending our December programs in the the season, the mad music season, because my interest was encouraged, opportunities were given. As he said, I didn't have to go to music academy or anywhere to listen to the music. And here in the campus, and this beautiful campus of nature, surrounded by nature with lots of flora and fauna, ideally suited for music, I would think. So I would say that this music club, there, so many other things are there, but I will not get into it. TTN should talk about it. It was a pioneer, it was a promoter, and it was a catalyst. Just because he mentioned Tony Lewis, 1973 January, Pongal always, the Cheepak Stadium would be, there was a test match. So Lewis and Nawab Patodi were sitting in the front row in the CLT. We were at the back. We didn't know that they had come. When they announced, we all got up. We forgot about Lalgudi Jayaraman. We wanted to see Lewis, and Nawab Patodi was our hero of those times. With one night, he would hit a 6 in the cover of Ashley Mallet. In Cheepak, we would be wondering at his class of cricket. So there was one thing, Chambai Vadyanath Bhagavatar. That one I'll explain later if there is any time. But from Kannada Sangha and Purandaradasa point of view, Sudha Raghunathan gave a fantastic concert in 95 or 96, 3-hour concert. I took her permission to record, which is not usually given, full 3 cassettes. Till recently I had it actually. I was listening to them. And when we came out of the CLT, we were waiting for a car to take her. Suddenly she said, Kolar avre, Chanagita nan program. I said, Sudha Raghunathan, you speak Kannada? I was very happy, obviously. She said, yeah, my school days I was in Bangalore, then I shifted here, so I know good Kannada, so I became a little bit more, So that was a great concert, 3 hours solid Dasa Sahitya songs. Many of others have come. Chengalpat Ranganathan sir, Guru of TT Narendran, a lot of people have come. So I would like to conclude saying this music club has given all of us, made our life in IIT Madras more meaningful, more elevating, if I may say. And if I may say, elevating towards spiritualism. If anybody could listen to Chambai Vaidyanatha Bhagavatar with half naked, with all the vibhutis and all that, and suddenly Rara Rajiva Lochana Rama and Sayankale Vanante, we would be transformed into a different spiritual environment, spiritual feeling. And he said something that day, I'll keep it to the rest later if I have time. Thank you all very much.
Thanks so much, Professor Kolar, for that perspective. So now let's segue to Professor TTN. Take it away.
Thank you, everybody. And I don't know if I'm going to keep you hungry for a long time. I'll just share memories of what I went through over 50 years. My first entry into music club was sometime in late 71. The CLT under that time was not available for any program because it was being air conditioned or they were fixing chairs. One of those reasons, I'm not very sure. The program used to... Yes. The program happened in BSB 105 or 205 or the first floor of BSB, which later on became the computer center, the mainframe. The IBM 370 came in there much later. That was in 74 or 75. The concert was by Ananta Krishnan and Mridangam was by the late Subhash Chandran, who's no more. Yeah, sorry. Thereafter, slowly started getting interested in music club, the activities, and started doing a bit of volunteering as a student then. In fact, there are a few, let's say, non-faculty who are quite active in organizing the music club program, so I must mention their names here. First was Mr. R. Balasubramanian. Balu is what you used to call him. He was working for Professor Narayana Rao, the same lab. He had made a lot of contact with musicians. He used to help a lot in fixing programs. Later on, it was Mr. T. Varadarajan, who was in the placement office. Yeah, he was earlier director secretary also. So Mr. Varadarajan had done quite a bit of, let's say, contacting musicians, organizing programs and all that. In later years, Mr. Veeraragon was treasurer, and then again from electrical department, Prabhakar Rao was treasurer. And in more recent years, K.B. Swaminathan, who's still around. And then I must not forget another person who probably has helped around the music club for 50 years. Some of you would be familiar with our Mohan. He is also one of those who's with the music. He's retired from IIT, but he still comes to help for music club programs. So there were several who have contributed. Same with the number of student volunteers I've had. In fact, somewhere around 98, I left the campus in 79. For 9 years, I lived outside the campus. That was when there were others who were running the music club. In 88, I came into music club, and that was the time when it looked like the club was in bad shape. And in fact, I remember attending the general body meeting. I was nudged by a student, Kannan, R. Kannan or Kannan Rajagopalan. He, 1986 chemical, he worked for a year in Pune, came back to do MS in computer science. And that is when he was the one who pushed me to literally put it, Mama, please take it. I'll do the work for you. So that's how it started in 88. By then, remunerations had gone up slightly, I would say. In the sense, in the 70s, it was 300 for a senior artist and 100 with party, and 150 for junior artists, entire troupe. And yes, like Professor Narayana Rao said, IIT students, all of this did make them, let's say, quite kind to us. There were several stalwart accompaniments who have played for 75 rupees, 100 rupees. And of course, rupee value was much, much higher then. So, around 1988, as I said, it had increased threefold. I still remember, I called up the famous flautist Ramani and told him, Shar Sharanagati. He asked me, what's the matter? I said, this is all I can afford. Then it was 1,000. By then the remunerations elsewhere had gone up, shot up enormously. So this is itself a very small amount. You have to help us out. Our club is thinking. Please do not refuse. He said, sir, no problem. And he brought T. Rukmini for violin accompaniment. I remember. So he didn't compromise on the accompanying artist either. And it got started. And within a few months, he managed to get mandolin U. Srinivas. And that was a sellout event. Imagine a scenario like this. The artists are seated on stage. And other than that, there was not an inch of space on CLT. The entire steps, the gallery, the floor around the stage, everything was occupied. Now think of it. Thank God there was no accident or incident or stampede or any such thing. So, I also remember artists such as Chitti Babu, Balamurali Krishna drawing full houses. So, but that was only one side of the story. Now, regarding membership, Of course, it doesn't exist now. Now they are running on sponsors. For faculty, it was deduction through salary. For students, it was deduction through mess bill. Of course, for tickets, there was no such facility. So individual programs, tickets were in the order of 2 rupees, 3 rupees, 5 rupees, that kind of rate. That's all. So this is a motive. But with students, we had to address other issues also. See, the mess timings were 7 to 8. And with many messes, even by 7:30 or so, you won't get food. So there was the system of late meals, so by which the mess staff would write the room number on the plate, cover it, and the students who used to attend till 9 o'clock or whatever time this concert ended, then go back and eat. For a few years, I was assistant warden in the hostel of Tapti Hostel. I was able to attract a lot of student members to attend the programs, so we used to get good attendance, and late meals also could be arranged. So it helped being in the hostel sector, being with the students at that time. And at all times, we've had the embarrassment of thin audience, 10 people, 20 people. Ups and downs throughout the 50 years it has been there. So the other thing we did was to take care that it matched with the student academic curriculum. So there, in those days, there used to be a cycle of periodicals. So this should come between 2 cycles of periodicals when the student did not have that much of a workload. And later on, it was the quizzes. I don't know what exists now. But we used to avoid, as I said, those dates when students would have to prepare for exams. But this is something which we took care. Publicity initially was cyclo-style circulars being distributed to members and notice boards for the hostel. And there used to be one ugly poster in front of CLT, which I did with a paintbrush. Later on, we started putting slides in the OAT movie, because OAT was another big medium for publicity then. Of course, today the situation is totally changed. I don't have to say anything. Transport. The grant of transport IIT often depended on the whims and fancies of the middle management staff in the administrative block. So while the directors were generous, the deputy registrar level, there was always a problem.
And availability.
Yes.
At any time,
Yeah.
availability was
And in this, I must say that when Professor Indresan was the director, he got a resolution passed at the Dean's Committee that transport will be given free to music club. And that continued. After some years, they said transport is free, but can you pay the drivers? We were willing. So that was not a problem. It still continued. Then, the institute used to give transport. But there were times when the transport was not necessarily impressive. I remember one particular van which was used probably for transporting goods had been sent, and they put a bench or two inside the, and MS Gopalakrishnan commented, "Nai vandi mari irukku sir." Even refreshments were a problem, because on campus nothing was available at that time. So we have to had some arrangement with some hostel mess or buy it earlier. This thing did not exist then. Now this has become a common. This is the only refreshment that we give. So most instrumentalists are happy with a soft drink, Fanta or Coca-Cola kind of thing. If it is a vocalist, this is not the right drink. And it was not easy to arrange a coffee. Again, I used to try and talk to some mess managers, send a flask. So that kind of thing. Some used to have this plain soda, Goli soda. I don't know if it still exists. So one other embarrassment, there was no restroom close to CLT. The restroom that you now see attached to CLT was built much, much later. So, and if you're lady artists, you had to take them to the first floor and it would be dark. All of these were problems. And coordination, there's so many agencies to coordinate. Well, most of the time it was okay with the public address system, the transport agency. There were times when even this was difficult. We had difficulties with public address system. We had difficulties with transport. We still have difficulties in getting CLT. It's not easy to get CLT for every program. And communication with artists, mobile phone, this is not the era of mobile phone.
More personal.
Yeah. So some artists had phones at home, many did not. So the good old inland letter used to work. I still have a letter written by Seshagopalan from Madurai then. And all negotiations were through the letters.
You must pass it on to the Heritage Center.
Yeah. And sometimes, of course, we used to go in person also. Some of them insisted that we come in person.
And we used to put the students in the forefront.
Yeah.
They are our majority members, so that discount was available always.
In fact, from around 96 onwards, I started using students in a big way. They used to contact artists, fix everything, do all the running around. I could, let us say, operate with less of workload on me and more work to the students. And I must acknowledge the amount of effort they put in at that time. Of course, they also bring in technology. So publicizing, etc., they were more innovative in that. One of the vexing problems we used to have is this. There are people who want to record music and there were artists who objected to it. I know of one incident when a foreigner came in. It was a concert of K.V. Narayan Swami with Palghat Raghu and Mridangam. He had recorded, none of us had noticed, but Palghat Raghu noticed it. He caught him after the concert. And KVN with his broken English, and Raghu, of course, was a graduate. He didn't have a communication problem. They insisted that he erased the cassette. That's what.
Whether anybody is recording or not, they had to do it and stop it.
And there were a few artists who allowed recording but said, give me the first copy of the cassette. That way. So this used to be one of the issues. And there's something that Professor Narayana Rao did not tell you. When Tony Lewis and Pataudi came, there was one young boy, a faculty's son, who came for an autograph, and he said, no way, you shall not.
No, but we compensated for it later. We actually met the team and got an entire sheet with all the team members' autograph and duplicated it and gave it to all our student members who wanted it. It was compensated to some extent.
One other interesting, there is this problem of listeners' requests. When in his time, he actively discouraged. He said, let the artists sing what they had planned to sing. Do not interrupt with requests.
Actually, there was one particular faculty member, I forget his name. He and his wife were very particular about songs. For example, Krishnani Begane Baro or something like that. At every concert, every musician, they would send a slip like this to please sing that. You see, once or twice you can permit it, but it became a nuisance afterwards. Then we brought in that rule, no public request will be allowed unless the artist himself or herself offers to sing any particular song. Because they come with some concept, what should be the concert be like and all that. And to disturb it with your particular interest, it is not fair. So it is never allowed in any concert. At least we followed that practice. I don't know what is the practice now.
I can share some later embarrassments. Well past the Taniya Avartanam, somebody asks, can you ask him to sing Vatapi Ganapati? It would be such an embarrassment to know that I had such members in the audience too. Quietly censored. And once I had a big embarrassment, but I managed it. It was D.K. Patamal's concert. The director was sitting next to me. I'll not name the director. Can you ask her to sing Endaro Mahanubhavulu? Fag end of the concert. I said, no, sir. I don't remember how I managed the situation, but I did not communicate that request to the artist. So, I must mention here, the music club could not get MS Subbulakshmi, but I think it was Ajit, Kolar and first Sarang that we got her to sing at OIT. That was the only time when Srimati MS Subbulakshmi sang at IIT.
I wanted to
And I
mention
think
that.
she gave a free concert, if I remember. She didn't charge us anything.
No. It was given to charitable causes.
Charitable.
MS Lakshmi, we went to her house and I wanted to say this later now that he has brought it up. I was the cultural advisor. Krishna was my secretary.
Yeah.
MS's secretary Atma was a relative or somebody. So we somehow set it up and we went there. My intention was to see MS and touch her feet. But she never came out of the house. Sadashivam took care of everything. He gave us kashayam. He said, no coffee here. These are the songs she is going to sing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And he said, if you want one aapki farmaish from the students, you please give us. She will sing that. 1,10,000 rupees. 2 organizations. Juvenile Diabetic Association and Amar Seva Sangham from
Aikudi.
I want so many things I can say, but I'll cut short. After that, Mr. Our parent Amar Seva Sangham,
Ramakrishnan, I think.
he was a handicapped person.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
Came on a wheelchair.
When he came in a car. I went, somebody opened the door and I said, sir, welcome. He just looked at me and smiled. He said, why is this not a man extending his hands? His hands was handicapped. He had a major problem when he was young. He only, this part was working, but he was such a great social worker. So my students came and lifted him out of the car. I felt so embarrassed and very bad about it. But the point is, after a few months, I got a letter from him thanking IIT Madras for donating that money. He had constructed a room in his Anath Ashram. I really, even when I remember that, I feel very moved about it. So I just wanted to share that. And MS Subbulakshmi's program was, of course, really great.
I must mention Krishna's contribution here. He was the one who came up with this idea of youth festival. So from there onwards, we also planned this. When are the students relatively free from academic workload? So what we did was, at the beginning of the academic year, say in August, we would hold the class fest, as it was called, 4 senior artists. In the Silver Jubilee year, I still remember, we had 6 concerts. And interestingly, there was D.K. Patamal and Sudha Raghunathan in the same series. And Ranjani Gayatri, now the famous vocalist, one of them accompanied Patamal on the violin, the other accompanied Sudha on the violin. And there was also a Hindustani artist, Shahid Parvez. Yeah. That was also there. We had 6 concerts for the Silver Jubilee year at that time. It went very well.
I think I should mention at this stage one novel experiment we tried. It was not a big success, but we even gave chance to our members to have a members concert, we used to call that. And once in 2 months or once in 3 months. Once
a year only, I think.
I think we tried it out of our student members or even faculty members. Faculty did not participate much, I should say. But the student members, 1 or 2, I think even Narendran participated.
My first concert
was a members concert.
I must also mention this. I had played twice at Music Club, 71 and 74. 74 was with violin Anantakrishnan and flute Narayanan.
All student members.
Yes. But once I became an office bearer of music club, I resolved I will not perform for the music club as an office bearer. It is misuse of position. So that was, I was very clear. Only after retirement, yeah. I must acknowledge here, Professor Gopinath, who used to regularly come and take photographs of the concerts, the artists. So in fact, recently when Heritage Center asked for photographs, I said, he is the best person to contact. Because he was the one who took most of the photographs.
To have a camera at that time. He never.
Right. So, it was an enjoyable journey of music club with, as I said, several ups and downs. One thing I do notice is that towards the later years, it became more difficult to get students to attend concerts. I do not know what the situation is now. Another strange thing which I have noticed, there were a few amongst the students who were learning music outside, but they would only, let us say, learn music. They won't even come for a concert at the music. There were people like that. So the listening students were not necessarily overlapping with the learning students. So this was one of the funny phenomena that I had observed. Overall, I'd say I'm happy that music club is still going strong. In terms of remuneration, I think you have to multiply at least by a factor of 100 what we are paying then, perhaps more than that. But it's still going fine. I guess it's actually the value of the rupee which keeps dropping, and that is why the amounts look big. And when we talk about our salaries and ticket rates, it will now look like a joke. 2 rupees and 3 rupees.
Even the pension amounts are
Yeah.
much higher now.
Right.
And imagine just 2 rupees, people used to hesitate to become members. They said it is very costly.
Yes.
Can you imagine that? And then we had to approach the director for a salary deduction facility because they would not spare 2 rupees cash. They would say deducted from salary. See, all those are funny. They look funny now, but in those days we had to go through those.
I went to a senior professor asking for 25 rupees. He said, Kolar, I have 4 mouths to feed. I said, sir, we don't want your money, and I gave.
The only
At
thing
all
is
times, enrolling members used to be a challenge. We used to have campaigns, particularly in the hostel sector. There were some enthusiastic volunteers who would go around room to room campaigning and bringing in members. Of course, all of that has changed now.
I should summarize and say we had very good support from the student crowd, but less support from the faculty crowd. With faculty, it was restricted to counting on your fingers, 10, 15, 20. But student members were always in hundreds. That we should acknowledge. Only thing we did not do for the students is arrange any coaching, music coaching. I am sure it would have been a failure because our IIT students are so independent, they would not like to learn here, but they would be learning elsewhere, outside possibly.
No.
But that is one thing which I feel we could have tried out. But
For some years, in the
tried.
later years, through the dean students and the advisor cultural, we were getting violin teacher to teach at HSB 133. And we have seen that number of students. Flute also was happening. Kumar?
But
Kumar came for flute?
Yeah.
Right.
But our students would plead either lack of time or lack of interest to go and learn such things.
Yeah. Can we make questions now?
Sure.
I'm done.
Okay. Yeah.
I just wanted to share 2 incidents that really stuck in my mind for a long time. 72, 73, I was new. Chambai's program, TV Gopalakrishnan and T. Rukmini, I said. I don't know much at that time. Even now, I don't know much. I just enjoy music. Obviously, TVG was, dexterously, dynamically handling the mridangam. I thought it was good. Suddenly, Chambai said, stop it. In a Valayadriya. I didn't know what it meant at that time. Then somebody said, I thought, he was admonishing him actually, but TVG was happily smiling, laughing, and he went on. I said, how can this happen in a public concert? And then in the same program, when T. Rukmini finished up one of her segments, Bhale Rukmini, Cholite, Patya, he's telling TVG, Patya. She was a very dignified artist. I remember this because I was new. Even today, after 52 years, I have not forgotten. On the other hand, in the 80s, in our, as I said, this music club had, spin-off things and our competitions with Mardi Gras and all. One of those competitions, MS Anantharaman was the judge. This girl, obviously even her Shruti was wrong. I couldn't make out. After some time, she said, stop. He said, stop. Shruti Pandey ko first in sunna. In front of everybody. She tried, she could not. And he said, please leave the stage. She went off the stage crying. I said, maybe, he could have been a little bit more. But later I learned MS Anantharaman was a very strict, MSG's younger,
My elder brother.
Elder brother, he was there. In one of those concerts, a few IIT students were sitting behind me. This singer was doing Pallavi. After a few minutes, hey, this lady has forgotten the lyrics here. And the Pallavi, and they left the stage actually. I didn't know what to do. So this was the condition. I don't know now. Okay, classical music is only for a certain people who really appreciate and want to appreciate. That is there. But it has been a very fascinating journey for us. And the fact that today, after 50 years, Music Club is functioning under leadership of various people. If they know some of these things, they'll be more enthused, excited to bring in Arun. And I want to place on record Professor Narayana Rao for starting the club and T.T. Narendran. Everybody knows about him. Huh? Nurturing. Without him, because he's a musician himself, he has a lot of contacts outside. Otherwise, people won't come for 100 rupees, 200 rupees. As he said, even Ramani had to coax him to come. All the most top musicians have performed here. We were able to listen to them because of T.T. Narendran. Number one, our CLT has one of the best acoustics in the city. Many musicians have told me, including Chitra Vishweshwaran, when I had arranged for a dance program, several times Urmila Satyanarayana and Shailaja have Vempati Chinni Satyam's programs. Of course, that was in OIT. No, even in CLT he performed. They used to tell me, even simple tinkling of the Gunguru, they could hear very clearly, with a lot of clarity. Urmila's husband is IIT Madras product. He said, sir, this is one of the best acoustic arrangements in the city. So musicians would love to come here. Audience and other things are different. So there are so many, fantastic, nostalgic things for us. We are all lucky to be in this campus. Heart gateway of South Indian culture is what Madras is. In that, for us who lived here for 35 years, when we are experiencing these things, we don't give much value to it. When we go out of the campus, when we think about it, whatever little I understand and appreciate classical music is because of Music Club, the whole musical ambience in this campus. Children enthusiastically taking part in the programs, classes. I haven't seen in many other places. Kharagpur, as I told you, Hindustani musicians used to come, but there was no real, that musical thing except during the spring festival, as we used to call. But classical music.
One rare thing, just now because you mentioned that, it occurred to me that was an artist who was given concert here, both in Carnatic and in Hindustani music.
Yes, yes.
TV Gopal.
MS Gopal.
TV Gopal.
MS
Gopal.
MS Gopal.
Both of them are.
We had arranged first, I think, in Carnatic music concert, and after a month or two, we arranged even Hindustani this thing. He was very glad to come. And
later, Trichu Ramchandran also sang Hindustani here.
No.
Charumati's husband.
G.V. Gopal Krishna, if I remember, both.
Both the Gopalakrishnas at different times have performed. MFG was accompanied by N.V. Murthy Tabla, that also I remember.
I want to mention with Nagarajan's permission, because Western classical also was talked about.
Yeah.
There are two sister violinists called Lalita Nandini. L. Subramaniam's niece, grandniece. I had arranged their program not from the music club but in a conference. Half the program was Carnatic classical, and after that they changed their dress for Western classical music. They are trained. They have certificates from some British thing. It was so good that my friend who was the DRDO Director General, Dr. Prahlada, he was attending for some reason. He said, Ajit, can you arrange that program in my headquarters in Delhi? Okay. And I arranged for Lalita and Nandini to go. So even classical music was Western music also. One concert we had.
Yeah, one program which happened then was this Western music, violin symphony, Narasimhan, led by the famous Narasimhan. That Western classical music, I remember in the early 70s.
Okay, so I want to thank all of our panelists for a round of fascinating anecdotes and their personal reflections. Since we are running a bit late, we have time only for like 1 or 2 questions from the audience, if anybody would like to. Yeah.
Yes, I'm just not going to ask any question, but since Mama has said, I do not know what's the situation, I waited for 2 and thrice also he said. Then I said, no, I have to answer this. So very quick roundup of what is the current situation of Music Club. Yes, so the situation has flipped now in terms of who participates. Student members are very, very bleak, and it is a faculty and interestingly faculty's parents who attend the concerts. So in fact, we were thinking of late to have a Rasika award. We have a very senior couple, interestingly, who live in our building, Chola, who attend every concert from the start to the end. Even I may not be there, but they are there. It's just amazing. And they are here right now. So they deserve a big round of applause, I might say. Yes, I think fortunately the audience has now gone up, maybe thanks to the media and everything. So we are able to get a lot more people, and it's very encouraging. In terms of CLT, or IIT Music Club being the most sought after venue, it still holds. Many musicians today, even established ones, are very eager to perform at IIT. Somehow they feel it's a very elite audience that they'll be performing to, which is true. And, that helps us a lot in getting the artists easily. That is, yes, the remunerations have gone up. To give you an idea, today for Class Fest, we spend overall about 60 to 70K just for one concert. And artists have sometimes demanded 1 lakh, but we said, we'll keep it at that. For Youth Fest, we pay about 10K per artist, and then of course there are overheads and so on. And we also have opening concerts at the beginning of the academic year. We are trying to maintain a balance of vocalist and instrumental. I always feel that given a lot more international presence on campus, having instrumental really helps. And there is a lot more enthusiasm there. And transportation, yes, almost now we are able to arrange. But a lot of artists, we are requesting them to have their own transportation and will pay. Institute no longer is in the picture when it comes to transportation. In terms of one other point that Mama mentioned, which is attending concerts. So the only concern that I have currently is there are many learners on campus, but unfortunately they do not constitute the Rasikas for concerts. I think music is one art where Kelvi Jnanam is, listening is really very, very important. A lot of it is imbibed through listening. And I feel bad that so many eminent artists come by way of Music Club, and the learners on campus are not encouraged. Especially the children should be encouraged by the parents. I've said this at least at a couple of occasions, that parents should take the time off, bring their children. They may not know this, but once this habit is nurtured, they'll come to the concert and they will also listen to music at home. So that is one thing. Archival, of course, now we have recordings. I don't find anybody objecting at all. In fact, they're very happy. They said, please give us the YouTube link and we'll tag and so on. So today's artists are like that. But overall, I think Music Club is in a different league. The good thing is now we have a new logo, and if I may say, the slogan or motto, whatever tagline that goes along with the logo is Nadarnava. And thanks to Shri R.K. Sriram Kumar, who helped us with that. So you must have seen that logo and many of the flyers, even the flyer that has been circulated. And that's one good thing. We have a new banner and everything. But yeah, overall, I think we are doing very well in the last decade or more and so on. Professor Kamakoti has taken to a different height after Mama, and hopefully we are doing some justice to that in the current era. So thank you for all the anecdotes. So hopefully that puts things in perspective for you now. Yeah. That has come down in the sense, but one thing I should say is we should revise. In fact, I was talking to Srikanth, we should really revise our membership fee. It is still at 100 rupees. That's per month. It's not going to help. We'll have to increase that. And that's the next thing that we'll look at in the next financial year. We will have to increase that. I'm sure faculty who are members right now will be happy to do that. And there is more of Hindustani concerts happening, by the way, compared to the rest. And interestingly, Hindustani concerts has more attendance than the Carnatic concerts. A lot of them come from outside. Okay, so thank you very much.
Yeah. By the way, that is Professor Arun Tangirala. He's the current president of the Music Club, just in case. Any other questions from the audience? If not, I think I'd like to thank our panelists one more time. Also want to mention that there is an increasing realization that music is part of our campus heritage, and that is one reason why the Heritage Center and the Music Club are now starting to partner in offering various programs. And also we plan to have an exhibit in the Heritage Center in the central dome of the Music Club. We are hoping to bring a lot of old posters and photos and have them available for viewing. So please plan to stop by the Heritage Center sometime, and you'll be able to catch some of those memorabilia. And thanks to all of you for attending today's panel session. It was, of course, very, very fascinating for all of us. And I thank the panelists for giving that time freely to assemble and talk to all of you. Thanks again.
Thank you so much, everyone. We would like to give a small memento on behalf of Heritage Center and Music Club. I would especially like to thank Dia Miriam for sketching these within 2 days. She has given us a sketch portrait of each of the panelists over here. Dia, please stand up. She is a Heritage Center staff, and we would like to present each of them a portrait of themselves. I request Professor Sriram to hand over the portrait. Okay. Professor Narayana. Yeah. Yeah, that'll be better. Professor Narayana Rao.
We all got this in the invitation. There is this same sketches hand drawn.
What is it? Professor Gopinath. Professor T.T. Narendran. Professor Kolar. And the moderator, Professor Nagarajan. Could all of you hold your portraits and same.